maybe reconsider that figure?
I think we have, we've made some adjustments. How did we do that? We changed the greenhouse that's going up here. There's the difference between a commercial greenhouse that's a commercial operation and an agricultural greenhouse. I think we differentiated with that on the one that's being built.
You did, but when I read the table, it says greenhouse, farm, large scale, $52 a square meter.
Okay.
So if I'm a LA member and I build a 5-acre greenhouse, which is the minimum square footage that you have to build in business.
Okay. Councilor Russell, you
That's the cost.
we changed something.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Derek. Derek, back on our November 8th council workshop, in my notes, basically what we did is we said for the agricultural greenhouses, we wanted an exemption that would be similar to other municipalities in terms of the per acre instead of the per meter, because we've already done it with the Shirley example, if I remember correctly. That was the direction we gave to Gary. Obviously, that hasn't been written down. Second thing is the other one was a so-called commercial greenhouse, which would be a retail greenhouse, and that would be used as, if I'm not mistaken, Gary was supposed to put it in as a normal commercial unit. It would be different. It'd be like a store, right? That type of thing.
I see the definition in the proposed bylaws at the 2, but I didn't see it follow through.
It did follow through with the figures, exactly. When you phoned me this afternoon, I think you're quite correct. And then I think the third thing is if you follow up what we suggested to Gary, it was also with the processing with agriculture was in the same vein. And that's not changed either. So these are, we haven't talked to the issue through, well, Gary isn't here, sorry, but we haven't talked to the issue as council since the, so this is our first back at it as well. You make a good point.
We addressed those concerns at the workshop, they just haven't made it through to this presentation, I believe. I think.
Okay, I apologize for that. We can definitely make sure they do. If there is any discrepancy with what was proposed and what's in, obviously what's in the bylaw is what really matters. And the background study, we can again submit an addendum to acknowledge those changes.
I think your point is well taken, and I think we have addressed that. Anyone else? Any other questions? Anyone on council have questions? Councilor Underwood.
Yes, when we did the workshop, I was pretty sure that we were talking about heritage areas or for all our existing towns to be exempt for multi-residential development fees and for commercial, so we could start to revitalize. I didn't see that here either. So I don't know if this is the right presentation or not, because this isn't the one that, this looks like the old presentation, the very first one we saw almost. So
yes.
Councilor Russell.
And I agree with Councilor Underwood, and also to that, we also not only asked for a multi dwelling or residential, for example, apartments being developed, etc. In the historical downtowns, we also asked if we could look at looking at all the downtowns and saying if there can be some special exemptions for those zones, similar to some of the exemptions that exist in the current bylaw, and that was supposed to be a change to it.
The bylaw was supposed to come back with a, this is the rate, and you get charged at a certain percentage of that rate. So this would be the rate for, that's how we did it for the agriculture as well.
Exactly.
The rate is that many, and we could, it's just not, it hasn't been through. So I think the concerns that are out there are the same concerns that council had at that meeting, and we addressed them through that process. We obviously don't have that here tonight. Councilor Russell.
So further to that, and looking at the things that we did recommend and we made a consensus on, I think the one that really looks good is the phasing.
Phasing in the 5 years.
We asked for phasing, and that's been completely done, even though we looked at one of the figures when it came to the screen.
All the rates were.
The one that was on the screen and what we have on our paper is something different on the screen, so one of them has to be removed.
Comparison of current and calculated charges, non-residential, and the second chart also.
Okay,
Updated sheet.
this is the updated. Okay. Any other questions from the public? Deputy Mayor Dec, or any of the public?
That's fine. I'm Sue Davis from Grand Bend, and I just want to know if you're aware of the back end result of having such high development costs in Grand Bend and area. Grand Bend is really unique in the sense that most of the houses that are developed in Grand Bend, on Grand Bend lots and area lots, are usually on the high end, high assessments. And you get the tax rate based on those high assessments. So you're going to get the end result for long term of these high tax rates, high taxes. And you really turn off people right off the bat with these high development charges that are going elsewhere. Not just the development charges, I'm thinking about the price of mandating different kinds of sewers that have to go in or septic systems. So I just want you to be aware of how unique Grand Bend is to have such high tax rates and high development charges. Before you decide, like to compare us to Leamington in different areas, I think you should really be doing the policies and compare us to Blue Water and South Huron and all the areas along the lake.
Okay, we can do that through the addendum and add to that list.
Okay.
Jake Wellington Builders, I'd just like to add to the institutional to commercial side. Just recently, this past week, we, for a client of ours, received a building permit in a neighboring municipality for a 10,000 square foot building. The development charges were $2,000, and I would consider it to fall under the industrial category. So a similar building, if they were to come to Lambton Shores, we would be paying $33,000 in development charges. And again, that's a huge tax base commercially that you're losing. And people do look at Lambton Shores and immediately go to these neighboring municipalities for the exact same reason.
Janet, do you remember what percentage we had said that they would, it was being put in there that we had the option to charge them at a certain percent?
The core business area?
Yeah, the core business area, and I guess some of the industrial as well.
Because
we did.
basically it was 33%.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we talked 25 and 50, and
Yeah.
we come up with a 33 to a third that we would, that rate would be reduced down to 32% of that. Councilor Underwood.
Yeah, I gotta respectfully request that they come back and start again, because quite honestly, the briefing that we received today, really an awful lot of what we decided during our workshop isn't there, because it was gonna be a very good news development charge bylaw we came up with, and what we've received isn't what I expected whatsoever, in fact, from the figures that we got. So I think it's a different presentation. So I don't know, I know that things happened and maybe something got lost in the information or something, but I don't think this is it. Maybe can he come back on Tuesday or something, and he does the other thing?
We
He
can make,
hasn't confirmed his availability yet.
Yeah.
pardon?
He hasn't confirmed his availability.
Hasn't confirmed whether he can come Tuesday, okay. So, yeah, the bylaw, what's the deadline here for the end of the year? Can we have it extended? If the deadline is the end of the year, we have to update our development charges, but we can have this brought back, and the bylaw is different than what is here, and it does address those concerns. Councilor Russell?
Well, I'm just gonna suggest, I agree with Councilor Underwood. I think what we have here is not what came out of the workshop. It was supposed to be more in line with, I think, what Jake just talked about.
Yeah.
We wanted to start bringing, I mean, we understood the math, and we understood the why, but we needed to be competitive. And since we just did an EDC thing, and we thought, well, how can you just do an EDC thing and have all those charges that are outside of income? Right, so that was the direction we gave. So I'm just suggesting, Mr. Mayor, I don't know about Tuesday or whatever, can we look at it this very simply, that if we can get an extension by some legal means while the new bylaw comes, I think that people need to have another hearing in terms of the public meeting. Like, they came for the public meeting tonight for people, certain people came for to see this, right?
So did I.
So,
And I was,
Do you see where I'm going?
we're
'Cause-
all on the